Hey, vinyl community, Elliot here, Lazy Dogs Records. And I thought I'd take the time this afternoon to do a little video about some record acquisitions I've made in the midsummer period here in July. I'd like to show you some. I'd also like to share some of the music I've been listening to recently that I thought was interesting that you might also find interesting. And I'll start now. First of all, gotta thank Zach, Deep Track Zach, and his 1971 contest. I won. I was so shocked and so pleased, and he sent me this brand new Al Green, Gets Next to You. So Zach, thank you so much for this. I have been playing it and loving it. It is an excellent, excellent album. The box, the reprise years, Joni Mitchell, the reprise albums, 1968 and 1971, and beautiful. I'll just, rather than start taking them all out, it came with a little 7x7, if you pre-ordered it, 7x7 print of that on it, and so that was a nice little bonus with it. And I pre-ordered it directly from Joni Mitchell's site, and with tax and shipping and everything, it was about $130. Each album is it comes in very good jacket, nice thick jacket, black vinyl. This is what I've got playing right now, and one of the things I liked, they didn't stick it in those paper sleeves that I can't stand, but a poly sleeve. And there's a few other little things that come with it in the box, but it is very nice. $130 for her first 4 albums. And the big controversy, of course, was this when she remixed this one. She had somebody remix it, and she kind of supervised it or approved of it once it was done. But this was never a good mix. She thought it was muddy, thought it was just botched. David Crosby did it, and he admitted he didn't do a good job on it. Heads up, if you're interested in this, I got an email from Amazon, and they're actually reduced the price on this Joni Mitchell box to 99 something. So if you're in the market for it, you might want to check Amazon, and you can get it, especially if it's, I didn't check in to see if it was a Prime free shipping or not, but at $99, if that's free shipping, you're getting 4 great albums for $25 each, so or a little over $25 each. So check that out if you're interested in it. Heads up on that. Some other things I got. I've pretty much gotten all of Bobby Gentry's albums now. A couple of them are, the vinyl's not in that great a shape, and I'd like to upgrade if I could ever find them. But this is Patchwork. This is one that commands a fairly high price. The guy advertised this as very good plus, with one wear mark on the first song on side one. One noticeable problem, which first of all I shouldn't have said it was very good plus if it had that problem, and it makes it a very good record. But when I got it, it's nowhere near very good plus. The whole thing has pops and clicks all the way through it, noticeable, sitting on top on the surface, not riding under or anything. So we had a little back and forth discussion, and he ended up giving me $10 off of the purchase. I mean, that was only $24, which I was willing to pay for a very good plus or a really strong very good. This wasn't a really strong very good. This was like borderline good plus. I wasn't pleased with that seller. Case of people over advertising, overgrading their work. Okay. A couple of blues records I picked up, Joe Louis Walker and Blue Soul, and Cold as the Night. Blues guitarist starting out in the 80s. and I wasn't that familiar with them, but the guy was asking $12 total, shipping and everything, for these two. Got this off in classifieds in the Steve Hoffman forum. I really like dealing with people buying stuff there. $12. I looked them up on Discogs. These are $5 or $6 records, more or less. They're in real good shape, very good plus or better listening condition. First album I listened to, which I believe was this one. For side one, I was going, man, maybe this wasn't a good purchase. But by the time I flipped it over and listened to side two and then all of the other albums, I said, yeah, I really like this guy. He really grew on me pretty quick. He got better. And it's nice when you listen to something and it gets better rather than goes downhill when you're listening. Okay, so there's a little blues I got. Also, I've tried to fill all the gaps in on my Birds albums. And I had this one already, but it wasn't in very good condition. This is Younger Than Yesterday. So I upgraded. I was able to get a good copy for a few dollars, not a real expensive one. And Dr. Birds and Mr. Hyde, got that one. And the Notorious Bird Brothers. And so now I think I've got everything the Birds put out, studio albums that the Birds put out during their time. Glad to get that. And mentioning buying off the classifieds from the Steve Hoffman forums, another seller was asking, it was selling some of his jazz, and I'm new to jazz, picking up on these things. And a couple of them were 75th anniversary releases, re-releases, which I asked around in the vinyl community a little bit and was told, well, some people have a little problem with them because some of them, they were digitally remastered during that time. And also that there was some question about the U.S. pressings leaving something to be desired. But the advantage of this was the seller, these were from his collection. So he had, played them numerous times and had play graded them. So any of those questions about pressing quality shouldn't be a concern because he would have noted that in the grading. And he graded these very, very fairly. I like that about folks on the Hoffman Forum classifieds. They tend to be much more accurate in their grading. But anyway, it turned out one of these was actually a 70s pressing, not a 75th anniversary. The Kenny Burrell Midnight Blue. And that's a nice, very nice reissue. I really like that. And then one of these, now I don't remember which, was a European pressing. So then the issue of the pressing quality didn't come in. Oh yeah, it wasn't this one. This was a U.S. pressing. This is one of the 75th anniversaries. And I really like this one. Grant Green. Obviously I'm a big fan of the guitar. I think anybody that grew up during the rock and roll era is partial to guitar work. But this was a 2014 reissue, remaster. Idle Moments, Grant Green with Joe Henderson, Bobby Hutchinson, Duke Pearson, Bob Crenshaw, and Al Harewood. And that plays very good plus. And this was a European press from that same period, 2012 actually. A Sonny Clark. A lot of people shown this album because I think it came out, a new pressing came out recently. Sonny Clark, Cool Strutting with Art Farmer, Jackie McLean, Paul Chambers, Philly Joe Jones, and of course these are Blue Notes. And this is very, very good. Of these three, this is my favorite. And he's the one that's not the jazz guitarist, pianist in this case. But really, really like all three of these albums. Got them, the Burrell was $10 and the other two were $12. Looked them up on Discogs, and that's the low end of what these were selling for. And I feel like the chances of the vinyl, the quality grading were greater buying it this way. charged me $6 shipping, so for a total of $40, I got these 3 very, very good jazz records to add to my very limited jazz collection. Okay, and the last few things I want to mention are some things I've been playing. So I've been listening to a lot of R&B or soul recently, and this one really stood out for me. Joe Tex. I remember Joe Tex when I was a kid, and I liked Joe Tex, but the last album I had by Joe Tex that I listened to, I wasn't real pleased with it. I think it was this, on the other hand, from 1969, Buying a Book on Atlantic Records. This was a very enjoyable album. All the songs were written by Joe Tex. So, glad to listen to this. Now here's one, The Persuasions. We Still Ain't Got No Band, from 1973. This is an a cappella group, actually signed by Frank Zappa. They were in, I think it was in a Philadelphia record store, and either somebody called up Frank Zappa over in California, or he called there to try to find somebody, and they said, "Hey, listen to these guys," and held the phone up. Zappa listened to them a while and said, "These guys need to be recorded," and that's how they got their recording contract. But it's neat. When you see these guys, you might be something you're interested in. A little different because it's a cappella. Okay, and then there was a soul group. I ended up cleaning 3, or they've been cleaned, but play grading 3 of these, and and it's Ron Banks and the Dramatics. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Dramatics, but let's see, I'll put them in order of when they came out. But the Dramatics. This is some good R&B. Okay. This one is called What You See Is What You Get, from 1971 on Volt Records, which I believe is a subsidiary of Stax, isn't it? And also on Volt from 74. This is Dramatically Yours, in that traditional R&B band style with the tux. And the Dramatic Jackpot from 75 on ABC Records. Ron Banks and the Dramatics. So, looking for some good old soul R&B type stuff. That's a good group. Okay. And I cleaned this one, old classic I had in 8-track form back when I was in high school and freshman in college, somewhere in there, because it was from 1977, the year I graduated. Jerry Jeff Walker, A Man Must Carry On. I've still got my original vinyl copy of this. I used to have it in 8-track as well. And this is one I just picked up somewhere, and this is a later repress because it's not a gatefold. The original was a gatefold. And then yesterday I was in a junk store, had a bunch of records. None of them impressed me until I came across this one. And it was in good condition, unlike most of the others. So I picked that up. It's War, Why Can't We Be Friends? I believe War had a record store day release this year. Okay. Haven't cleaned this one up yet. Look forward to doing that and seeing what I've got. Okay, so folks, that's just a look at some recent acquisitions, some things I've been listening to, and if you stuck with me this long, you're good folk. If you didn't, you're still good folk, though. All right. Remember, be kind to your neighbors, folks, and we're all neighbors.